Hello, welcome to our Advent study with missionaries around the world. Today we get to hear on this first week of Advent from Elizabeth Yambasu, who's one of our Global Mission Fellows. Elizabeth, will you tell us, who you are, where you're from, where you're serving, and then read our Advent readings?
Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Elizabeth Yambasu. I am from Freetown, Sierra Leone, and I'm currently serving in Liberia at the Faith and Justice Network. Today, I'll be doing two readings. The first is from Isaiah chapter 2, verse 1 to 5. And I read, "The word that Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his path. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nations, neither shall they learn war anymore. O house of Jacob, come ye and let us walk in the light of the Lord." The second reading will be taken from Matthew chapter 24, verses 36 to 44. And it reads, "But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken and the other left. Watch therefore, for you know not what hour your Lord doth come. But know this, that if the good man of the house has known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up." The last verse. "Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man cometh." The word of God for the people of God.
Welcome to our Advent study with missionaries. Again, this is week 1, and we're joined by Elizabeth Yambasu, one of our Global Mission Fellows. Elizabeth, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It's a joy. Can you please share with those who are going to be watching a little bit about you, where you're from, where you're serving, what you're doing there, a few sentences about what you're doing?
Okay. I am Elizabeth Yambasu. As you have said, I am from Freetown, Sierra Leone, and I serve in Monrovia, Liberia at the Faith and Justice Network. So basically, Faith and Justice Network is an ecumenical organization that partners with churches and church-related institutions on social justice issues like that we as GMF, do in our community, in our local communities. So we sort of provide education to citizens and also the church and young people in schools and also women, and try to advocate for them in different issues and in different issues like corruption and SGBP. So in summary, those are some of the issues that we look at Faith and Justice.
And is there a particular area where you found a passion where you think, oh, this is really great. I love doing this?
Yeah, well, I've always been passionate about women's rights, women's empowerment. So, here Faith and Justice, I work with women on Thursdays in Black campaign. So I think that has actually been one of the greatest things that I look forward to while serving here.
Where are you in the Global Mission Fellow Program? If you could share with everyone, maybe a little bit about it, how long it is, when you started, and what got you interested in it.
Okay. So I've been serving for a year now. I started my service at my placement site in August. In August last year, that was 2021, because I'm in the 2021-2023 cohort. But I think this year, because of COVID, we are sort of divided into regions. So I'm in the Africa cohort, or the African region. And I'd always wanted to be a missionary, because growing up, my dad was a missionary, although he was a full-time missionary. But it was something, just seeing him serve and having the opportunity to serve with him, because we, of course, go to churches with him and see what he does at a very tender age. I was about 8. And I had always said I wanted to be a missionary. And he would say, you should be a nurse so you could be a missionary nurse. But as life would have it, I was more interested in the arts. So I didn't end up being a nurse, but thank God I'm here and I'm serving. So as time went on, of course, education and a lot of things changed, but my dream to be a missionary is one that has been consistent. So I guess that's why I'm here today, and that's why I'm serving.
Had you ever thought of going to Liberia before?
Honestly speaking, no. And even when I did apply to be a missionary, I didn't actually think I was going to be placed in Liberia. I would have wanted to get out of the West African region in general and serve, someplace else. But I feel that I was meant to be here, and I've actually learned a lot in the 1 year that I'm here. So.
What is it like being so? You're United Methodist. These churches are United Methodist, but what is it like being in a different type of United Methodism? Like, how have you connected with the body of Christ?
Yeah. Okay. So when I came here at first, there were a few things that were different, and during our sessions, we talk about cultural shock and all of those things. And they had certain practices that were different from us. Some of them were actually positive practices, in the sense that, of course, at home, we normally take communion once a month, but here they do it during the first and the third Sundays. And also there, when it comes to taking their communion, they're also very strict, in the sense that women have to cover up before they go for communion. And also there was the third aspect of it, where you're not supposed to, as a woman, you're not supposed to wear jeans or trouser. You're always supposed to be in skirt or full dress. And these were things that were different from where I came from, wherein you could go, when it's time for communion, you go as you are. So it was like you said, it's the same UMC, but it took me a while to adjust. And I also try to find out why they did certain things as they did. But part of serving is also to, be a part of the community, and to, like they say, when in Rome, do as Romans. So you just have to blend in. So yeah.
So Elizabeth, how have you found community? Where you go to the church, but how have you found a community of people? Because you left your family, you left your friends, you're living in a new place. What has that been like?
Yeah. For me, of course, when you move into a new place, it takes a while to adjust. But I believe, like I always say, one of the greatest assets that I found here is actually my community. And first, when I came, I had hoped for different things, because we reside in the missionary compound. I'd wanted an experience out of the compound. But as time went on, with the experiences that I've had, I realized it was very important that I stay within the missionary compound, because these are people that actually have been very helpful. They understand my journey, and some of them are Liberians, and I've lived here for a while. So I feel like in where there were emergencies, God placed them right there to assist. And but they've been welcoming. Like Liberians are very friendly people, and even in the church community, they're welcoming. I've met a few people that assist, and we share our journeys with, and they're also looking forward to have us, participate fully in church activities and to just, give back and to contribute. So it's actually been great.
And can you share what is a missionary compound for those of us listening in that aren't quite sure what that looks like anymore?
Oh, okay. Well, for us here in Liberia, GBGM has a missionary compound, and I believe for now it should be under the United Methodist Conference. So it's 12th Street, not far away from the conference, where we have missionaries that serve in Liberia. Most of them are full-time missionaries, so all fellows and all full-time missionaries that are placed in Liberia, they reside there. So it's basically a big compound with different apartments. And each missionary has an apartment, and full-time missionaries are there with their families. And as fellows, we also have like an apartment. Currently, I share an apartment with a fellow, Sharon Wango. She's also serving here. And the other fellows, they're males, and they also have separate apartments. So that is what it looks like.
Do you guys eat meals together, or are they all on your own, or are you
Well,
Auntie Elizabeth to the families and to the kids?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, it's in our African society, we normally share meals. So I believe, in as much as we all have our independent lives and privacy, but mostly as fellows, we sometimes come together and we dine together. It's also a way to share experiences and what we go through and share pieces of advice. And generally, as a community, when people have big occasions, wedding anniversaries, birthdays, we normally just, share. We share among each other. Yeah, which is good. And once in a while, a missionary could just think about you and say, "Oh, let me get this person food." So yeah, it's been good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's jump to the scripture a little bit. Is there anything from the Isaiah reading or the Matthew reading that resonated with you and your work at this time?
At this time, I mean, both the scripture reading, in my understanding, or from what I derive from it, is that it's a reminder that we're all people of God, and we're here on earth to serve, right? We all have a calling, but we're not serving for ourselves. I mean, God has given us this gift, He's given us a talent, and there'll come a point where He would come back, and we would have to give account. And so basically, while we're on earth, it's not about living for self or doing things that are not pleasing to Him, like in the days of old, because He may come at any time. And when He comes, would we be ready? So for me, I feel like at this point in my service, even though I might think I'm still young, God still has need of me. There's still a lot that I can do. There's still a lot that I could contribute to the community that I'm here to serve. So it's just a reminder that whatever I do, I should do it with love and try to give the best that I can to ensure that when He comes back, or, whenever my time here is done, I would be able to know that I actually utilized the gifts and the talent that He'd given me.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
During Advent, some churches follow, it's not like officially liturgical, but they follow like week 1 is hope, week 2 is peace, week 3 is love, week 4 is joy. Where do you find hope in your work?
Hope. For me, I find hope in the fact that in this short time in a year, I have actually been able to see some changes being made. So basically, when I first came into the program, I I was assigned to one of the programs I was assigned to was the corruption-free school campaign program. It was there prior to me coming to serve, but because of COVID and all, it was put on hold for about a year or two. So when we came, it felt like a fresh start, having to go to the schools to tell them about what the program is and all of that. So within this short year, in this, I think a few months ago, we actually have our first like graduating class. Most of them are now going to universities, and it's such a joy to, sometimes I'll be randomly walking around the streets and on a weekend, and I see a student call me by name, and to know that they recognize the effort that we're making. And even sometimes when I'm not represented, my colleagues are there, they always, ask after me. But it's also mainly to know that, we also have radio talk shows that we do where we give the student a platform to share about their thoughts on corruption, what's going on in their school, and, how they could help, fight against corruption, to know that these children now have the knowledge and the resources, and they can boldly speak up against it. And they're also going beyond to ensure that they also do their own research, and to know that they're leaving school with that knowledge and that idea, and also trying to connect them with people in power and people that are into corruption, and how they could also take that to the universities that they're going to. So for me, it's seeing this change, as like witnessing the change while I'm still here, that has been one of the best parts of, that's been hope for me.
Elizabeth, thank you for sharing about hope and your missionary journey. Sometimes being a missionary is great, and sometimes there's a struggle. Would you be willing to share with the world, Christians watching, what might be a little difficult about serving as a missionary for you?
For me, personally, I'd say what has been difficult is, of course, coming into the community, you have your expectations. And of course, the people that you're coming to serve also have expectations. So I think one of the most challenging things as a young person is to know that sometimes your skills may not be what they need, or sometimes they may not actually have the resources to, enable the work, or, the work that you hope to achieve. So it's been, that has been what's like, even though there are positive changes that are going on, but coming on the ground, you have to readjust like all over again, like your mindset, try to, it's both positive and negative, because you try to learn new skills, and you also try to adjust, try to make do with what's there. So I guess though there are changes, but it's knowing that you do not always get to 100, you don't always 100% get to, things don't change in a day. I mean, we don't expect things to change in a day, but it's knowing that there's certain things that, might not change at all. And it's just being able to accept it as it is, and hope that in the long run, you could do your part, and hope that in the long run, whoever comes after you would be able to, like, you would already have set a foundation for them to slowly work on that and make the change with time. I guess those are the challenges.
Thank you for sharing it. Will help us all know how to pray.
Exactly.
For you. And so you've talked about there's missionaries from other countries that are there in the missionary compound, and you're doing these different works, and you're building on work that other people have done, and people are going to build on your work.
Yeah.
What is a way that the world Christians participating in this study could join in that work? They're not there in West Africa, but how could Christians connect with the Christians that are there?
Yeah. In terms of connecting, one thing that I appreciate about being a fellow is that, I mean, before now, when many people thought about the word missionary, it was people going out of their comfort zones of their home country to preach the gospel. But these days, we have young people that are, still using their skills and their knowledge in different fields to serve. So I believe that that's one thing that is bringing all of us together, to know that I could be a pastor, and I could be, an advocate, or I could be a teacher, but somehow we're all needed in the community. We all help build each other's work. So I also work with not just different church, because we work with interreligious council and council of churches, which is different denominations and people from different backgrounds, both Christian and Muslim as well. But it's the joy of knowing that we all have we're all working towards a purpose, irrespective of our religion or our denomination. And so I believe that's the beauty of service, and that's the beauty of community and connecting, to know that you don't always have to be on ground, but like you said, it could be through prayers, it could be just knowing more about what we do, and supporting. Like when it comes to the Thursdays in Black campaign, there's something that has been going on before Faith and Justice Network, and there's something that would go on before Faith and Justice, will go on after Faith and Justice Network. So just you can be a part of it wherever you are. Just read more about it, and in your own local communities or churches, you try to teach young women what it is about and how they could speak up for their rights, and maybe just try to just read around like what the program is and encourage other people to be a part of it by joining, and just like community work, just come together and share God's love in general, because I believe that's what we do as missionaries and as Christians, so we connect in different ways and share the love of God in whatever capacity we find ourselves in.
Can you share just real quickly, just a little bit about that program, so that we would know where to go and find more information?
Oh, okay. The Thursdays in Black campaign is an initiative by the World Council of Churches. So basically, this is a campaign that has started in the 90s, where church, people, the church community decided to come together and raise awareness on sexual and gender-based violence, because from where I come from in Africa, some of these acts are cultural, and so in some parts of Africa they are seen as a norm, they are sort of accepted. But as a church, and also considering the fact that times are changing, we believe that it is our responsibility to speak up against these things, because most of the people, I believe there's everybody goes to church. So long as you're Christian, in the sense that the teacher, whether you're a teacher or you're in government, the church is one place we all can meet and communicate. So it's a responsibility of the pastor, or responsibility of whoever is in charge, to speak up against these things. And in our society, again, many of these people that commit these crimes are people that have power. So instead of having to cover up for them or try to safeguard your position as a minister, as a man of God, you should also try to protect the people that you serve and ensure that they are safe, because we come to the house of God to be safe. And so basically that's about it. And you could read more about it online and what different organizations are doing in speaking up for victims of sexual and gender-based violence. And you could also lend a voice, just simply by wearing a black on every Thursday. And when they ask you about it, you just tell someone what the Thursdays in Black campaign is for.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank
And right before that, you had mentioned how some of the ways people could be connected with you is praying and praying for the Christians and learning about what's going on. I know you send out a newsletter.
Yes.
Do you have a blog or an online thing, or should people just send you an email to say, please put me on your newsletter list?
Right. Anything that has to do with my service, I would definitely, reach out to you and share with you. And that way I could share with anyone that's interested in, reading about it.
Sure. And we'll put your email up after we're done with our interview, so that anybody watching this that wants to email you and connect with you directly can do that too.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Is there any final word, parting word that you would like to share with the churches watching this and participating in this study?
All right. I will first of all want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity and the platform to share more about what I do, because like I had said before, it is needed for the kind of job we do, to connect and to get people to know the needs that are in the community. I also would want to say thank you to those that have also been very supportive. And I would also want to encourage them to keep supporting the program, to keep supporting missionaries. And I believe it is a great program for young people. It's a great way to find yourself and to learn more about yourself and what you would want to do in the future. So I would also encourage that if you have, siblings or people within the age of 18 to 30, this could be a great start for them as well. And of course, like, just keep supporting, keep praying, and we're looking forward to doing the best that I'm looking forward to doing the best that I can while I'm still here, and hopeful for whatever it is that the future holds for me.
Wow. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for participating in the Advent Study with Missionaries.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.